Hey guys, 2.5 Witchcraft. Super awesome. Witchcraft. So, yeah. Don't tell your parents that I'm a wizard or a warlock or a witch. We're talking about the end of the witch trials. So the Salem witch trials, you might be familiar with those. It's kind of the same thing. It's just a European version of those. I'm a Powerade. Got my junior mints. Let's roll. So the menu. So witch trials. Why? What were they? And why did they increase in the time period of note? What factors led to and were affected by witch trials, social and economic? And then what things happened so that witch trials went away? So that's generally what we're going for. So why? What are these witch trials? The big thing is that they would, basically the root of this is the role of superstition and the belief in religious explanations, not just like heavenly or Jesus inspired, but also demonic as well, led to kind of a widespread belief that, hey, if something is going wrong, somebody had to be behind it, and maybe for some suspicious reason. So in the course of 300 years, you are anywhere from 70 to 100,000. Hard to get a number there, but that is a range of people who were killed. 80% of those being women. The causes we're going to look at, and we're right in the middle of this religious conflict, religious wars section, that governments are triggering these wars, but people thinking in more of a religious context might say, hey, something's going wrong. This has a religious explanation to it. Perhaps something that is not of the Lord, something even worse. So widespread panic and doubt due to religious wars, lack of faith in the Catholic Church. Popular belief in superstition, magic as reasons for trouble, so we've already talked about that a little bit. And then gender roles. Women considered the weaker sex. That goes back to the biblical account of Adam and Eve, where it was Eve that took the apple from the serpent in the Garden of Eden. Read Genesis 3 for background there. But anyway, that fact kind of propagated the belief that women were the weaker sex and were the scapegoats, basically, for a lot of these problems. And 80% of the victims, as said earlier, were women. So these witch trials were lit. They were pretty exciting. Here we have the witch number one. This is just a depiction of maybe a glorified witch trial. And you see lightning down from heaven to smite the witch, perhaps, and you see the people around. Note maybe their wardrobe and maybe what that would say about maybe their religious beliefs. A little simple, not too extravagant. Maybe that has something to do with maybe the audience here. Here we go. Here's witch number 3. And she is clearly casting a spell. Old dude here on the right is very excited about all this and very pleased with himself. But these people are very afraid. So, again, witch trials were extravagant. They would be a place where it'd be a community event. And usually these people who would be put on trial would be social outcasts. They'd be ones that if you blame a problem on them, no one would miss them if they were gone. So older women, widows were certainly more susceptible if problems came up. And sometimes even the signs for proof for being a witch could be something as simple as having a birthmark and saying that Satan had touched you there, and that is where it is. So like here on my arm, I have a birthmark, so it's clear that Satan has touched me. So don't get close. But anyway, that's kind of the foundation of belief. And as we're going to see in our witch trial we're going to do in class, sometimes the evidence used to convict witches were it's not great in terms of Francis Bacon, Rene Descartes, inductive, deductive reasoning. And what do you do with a witch? Barbecue. You set them on fire. Witches were thought to be made of wood, and wood burns. So the preferred method of execution would be at the stake. Joan of Arc, by the way, if you know the story of Joan of Arc, the young French girl who helped the French defeat the English in the 100 Years' War, medieval war between Britain and France. She was captured by the English and put on trial as a witch, practicing witchcraft, and they convicted her because she wore pants. So, ladies, take a look. If you're wearing pants, how dare you? So, witchcraft, well, not witchcraft, but the witch hunt started as time went on to decline. And we've already talked about reasons why these superstitious, sensationalist trials started to go down, or most notably, scientific revolution. The fact that you've got to find proof, and legitimate, observable, measurable proof to get to a conclusion. So as inductive reasoning becomes more popular, as it becomes more widespread in the elites in society, those who can make the decisions to try people for witches, you're going to see these trials go down. Advances in medicine. So if a person gets sick and dies, it's harder to blame a potential witch for that problem. So as we have advances in medicine and also the diet, we'll talk about that in the next unit, about how people are eating better as we get into the 1700s. People can recover from illnesses a lot easier. And then the chaotic nature of the witch trials leads to witch fatigue. You just kind of get tired of the same old thing happening time after time after time. So witch fatigue is an issue as well. Oh, that's it. Well, that's short. So that's the end of 2.5. We're going to have a good time with our witch trial. But, you know, on a serious note to close, this is a major apocalypse. I mean, if you take a look at the numbers again, 70 to 100,000 young lives. So even while we kind of go through the experience of and go through that chaotic nature, let's also remember that that is a mass amount of people and young lives that were lost over the course of centuries due to this popular belief in witchcraft, and in certainly the vast majority of the cases, the subject, the victim, had no allegiance to. So with that in mind, that will close out 2.5. Bye-bye.